Many people don't know this, but video games are a very hot industry for entrepreneurs, and these two are making it work. Tonight's guests are brothers, Seth and Sam Coster of Butterscotch Shenanigans. One thing that's really unique about your game is you are selling it through Steam.
That's where it all happens.
The tough thing about it is you have to get in to the platform. You can't just put your product up.
Right, they have to accept you.
Right, and so in order for them to do that really rapidly, they have this process called greenlight, where you put up your trailer, you put up a description of the game, whatever other supporting things you want, and you're essentially pitching to people who are on the service already.
Right.
And then they vote.
The customers, someone like me, I go on Steam and I have to vote and say, I would like to see this game sold in
Exactly. You say,
Steam.
I would buy this. And then you get greenlit. So we got greenlit in 2 days.
You were the fastest game to ever be greenlit on Steam, is that correct?
Well,
Well, no, there was one.
There's one other one, but
You were
it already
the second
existed.
fastest game.
So,
We're the
but-
fastest
yeah,
original
the
IP,
game,
we
the game
think.
that was faster than us had already been released for a long time, and what they put on Steam was an English version of it.
Well, let's talk about your game.
That's right, right?
If we're going to split hairs, like the Sears Tower, Willis Tower in Chicago is the biggest in the world until someone put a taller antenna on their building.
Right,
It
right,
doesn't matter. So we're going to say you were the fastest game to
We'll
be
take
greenlit
it.
on
We'll
Steam.
take it. Let's go.
What we actually did was we made the trailer. The trailer was the thing we knew we needed. We went through and we looked at a bunch of the Greenlight campaigns and realized that in all of our sort of just general usage of that UI and the interface, that all we did whenever we scoped out whether a game was worth it was watch the video. If we wanted to read about it, it's because it had something like super interesting or weird, but we were already sort of hooked in. There was no choice making happening below that video. And so we're like, shit. Okay, we gotta make that thing. We gotta make that thing well. Rated T for too much sass. Butterscotch Shenanigans. Crashlands. If you like words and reading them, then prepare to experience the story of a lifetime. There's a bad guy, a bunch of quest givers, and you in your purple spacesuit slapping everything with your thumbless hands. Finger painting was never going to be relevant, your mother always told you. Show her she was wrong as you rub your magnificent home into existence with a build mode so convenient you'll have time to give her a call. Crashlands! 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 Defeat local wildlife to acquire their parts for your crafting, and then turn their own parts against them. Sew their skin into armor, grind their bones into weaponry, and turn their babies against their former brethren. Fight, Wampet, fight for your new mother's enjoyment! Set it and forget it like an infomercial actor with our oven-like workstations that bake items while you explore. Make a chair, make a lamp, make a stem cell baby you can suck the life out of to replenish your youthful flesh. With 5 billion divided by 1,100,000,000 times, what is this? You'll spend joyous hours digging through your bags and moving things around. Shut up, no you won't! Your infinite inventory manages itself. Crashlands! Make bathroom breaks a thing of the past with Crashlands cross-platforminess. Share your save from PC to mobile and take your gaming on the road, or the toilet, or both. We spent ages crafting every last detail of Crashlands to make it the most amazing thing you could possibly experience. So of course, you can just throw all that in the trash to make your own campaigns using the Crashlands creator. It won't hurt our feelings at all.
Pretty fun to do. There's a lot of laughing in between his voiceover that we had to edit out. Yeah, it was good. It was good fun to work on that.
We're trying to ease back into a normal work day. I think we're still probably at a good 10 hours a day. So it's It's a lot of work. We still have about 2.5 more weeks of beta to go before we'll call it done.
So the other day I was working in a coffee shop and I finished the sort of all the side quests for the first part of the game. And I just like closed the laptop and I'm like, whoa. Like that part of the game is actually done. And then just this last week, we finished all the bosses and we finished the Bog story, which is the second part of the game, and it's just done. Changed a bunch of stuff, added a bunch of new, whiz bangs and features and things. The game's just gotten really good, I think, and done quite a few balance fixes and stuff. We kind of didn't realize what we made, I think, in a lot of ways, which was the original intention was a survival game, and what we actually made is like an adventure, game. And so some people are more into just exploring the narrative side of things and just the adventure piece without being like murdered every step of the way, which we hadn't really accounted for. So Seth went in there and hacked in some difficulty modes and that sort of thing. But yeah, I think it's come along quite a long ways in the last month, and there's just a few. I think literally the last thing I have to do is just to build some new floors out of various animal parts, and that's it. So besides that, I've just been cruising on the PR stuff and trying to do all the research and everything necessary to get that ready to rock. When I was in the hospital in May for the first stem cell transplant, they had said that I was going to get really sick, but no one had really classified what they meant by that. And then on top of that, it seemed like it was taking a long time, and I felt fine. I felt fine after the 7 days of getting pumped full of chemo, and then the stem cell transplant went fine. And then there were these 3 days where like just nothing happened, and my nausea was going away because I wasn't actually being poisoned. And I think it was like day 12, pretty exactly. My fever started rolling in, and this is exactly what they said. They're like, you're going to get a fever, and you're going to get very, very sick, and we basically just need to keep you alive for 4 to 5 days during that time. Essentially what happens is your immune system is gone because you've nuked it out of your body with chemo, so your body just kicks up this really big fever. And for me, it lasted for, I think, 4 days. I actually don't remember. I don't remember much from this entire week of stuff. Yeah, I wasn't really functional during that time. I thought I'd understood sickness after the first round of chemo, from the first time that all this happened. But being far away from being like a conscious person because you're coughing so hard that you're just out of control, and if you stand up for more than 30 seconds or 40 seconds, then you throw up because of the exertion of having to stand. And the fact that I just don't remember most of it. I don't feel like I was alive during that 4 or 5 day span while I was fevering that hard. The weird thing is about it is that essentially what they push you across the veil of like you're living over here and you're dead over here, and they give you a ton of drugs, and they basically kill you except for just a little bit. And by that pinky toe, they pull you back over and then leave your cancer on the other side is the hope. I didn't get any work done, frankly, during that time, but I think it's okay.
This scan is going to tell us whether or not he's clear of cancer, or at the very least, as far as we know. The doctors will not say that he's cured until he's been totally clear for 5 years. And then he also needs to get stabbed in the bones and get bone marrow biopsy and blood tests and everything else, They got to keep poking him and prodding him for quite a while.
I know Sam's worried about this next time point because he's never had a long period of lymphoma remission. And so if the scans look good at day 100, this will be the first time to have 2 good scans in a row, which could give him confidence that we are achieving durable control of the lymphoma and make us all hopeful that it's going to stay in remission moving forward. Sam has spent the last 100 days having weekly office visits, a lot of close blood work, dealing with rashes and infections and some of the other immediate side effects of the transplant. And during all of this time, we have not been looking at the lymphoma. That's kind of taken a backseat concern. But now at day 100, we're taking our first look at what the lymphoma's been doing. And these are the first scans that he's had since the donor transplant was done.
In about probably an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, we'll head in to the big room where there's this huge metal tube, and they roll you in, and then roll you out, and then roll you in, roll you out, roll you in, and it's kind of freaky. And they are basically imaging your insides during that whole time. So that's what we're here doing, and that's going to show whether or not there's any cancer going on. And as far as what I'm doing then, in the meantime, is going through a ton of new feedback that our testers sent in, categorizing it and sending it off to the bros. The goal is to convert, these 1,600 or so tickets into actionable items. And since I'm the one who gets to see every single bug, I'll start noticing sort of contextual pieces that fit together. And so I'll kind of bundle those together for Seth. And then he comes in, whenever he starts his workday, grabs whatever bundles of bugs he's interested in doing, and then sort of uses that and powers through them.
We got a total of over 2,000 points of feedback from our beta testers. Adam built a tool that's our feedback tool, where inside the game a player can click a button to give us some feedback. And unbeknownst to the player, that link has also carried a whole bunch of information about their save and about their progress in the game, where they are. And it even gives us a duplicate of their save file, so that we can recreate any problems that they've seen. Even though we got 2,000, I guess you could call them complaints, about the game, still, the game is so big that was actually a very low number. The overall sort of vibe that we got from our testers was that they were just really having a great time with it. Our top tester has put in 68 hours of gameplay in 9 days. And our 160 testers have put in over, I think probably by now, about 120 days of gameplay time in a 10-day period. If it wasn't fun, if they weren't really having a good time, they wouldn't have played that much, just sort of out of courtesy to us.
We're going to go into the PET scan tube and get scanned for about, 15 minutes, 20 minutes? And then they'll get the reading, and then they'll read it, and we'll go upstairs and get the news.
Good news.
Good news, that's right. We're getting good news.
We're getting a clean scan, good news. Are you able to anything to make you more comfortable? Close your eyes for me for just a moment.
So we met when it was my freshman year in college. I had been a competitive swimmer for all of my life, and I kind of knew that by the time I had gotten to college, I'd really wanted to do things I loved that I hadn't really had the time to give myself energy to devote to, and a lot of that was the artistic side of me. I just saw this flyer in my dorm room, Diwali tryout. I went to the tryouts and I really loved the hip hop one. And I just remember I had walked into the room on our first day of practice and I noticed there were only 3 guys. It was Sam and his 2 other friends. He became one of the best parts of my whole college experience, and that was 4 years ago. I was on the phone with Sam because I knew he was going to the doctors because they thought maybe he had Lyme. So I'm like, hey, how's the doctors? And he was totally normal because they don't think he was ready yet to tell me. And all of a sudden he calls me again and he told me, hey, I actually have lymphoma. Lymphoma is a cancer. It's one of those moments where like your skin tingles, like you're so numb, your body is starting to react physically to what you're mentally going through. We got off the phone and I went back into the dining hall and my friend Chelsea was with me, and I remember distinctly I just lost it. And I don't think she couldn't get out of me what was wrong because I was blubbering. Slowly he said, I'm like, Sam has cancer. He always did this thing where he said, you can always leave. I remember saying to him, look, I'm not obligated to stay with you. So if I'm staying with you, it's because I want to stay with you, and I do. I just wanted him to so desperately understand that I wasn't staying with him because I thought he needed me. I know, like, this is my choice, but I want you to know that this is my choice. When I said that, that's when Sam, I could see it in his eyes. He was like, well, do you want to get married? Like, I want to marry you. He had this, like, a white little wild grass flower and made me a ring out of it. And we were laying there and we're like crying because we're sad and we're crying because we're happy. Then we got engaged.
So, how are you feeling today?
I'm doing pretty good. Slept for 4 hours.
Oh,
You know,
a little
the
anxious.
nerves.
But otherwise, good energy
Everything's
level
good, yeah.
and how you're feeling.
feeling great.
So the PET scan has not been reported by the radiologist. I looked at the pictures myself and found nothing of concern.
Yes!
So we're counting on a very good result. I have to, wait
Hedge
for
it, of course.
with the radiologist, but of course, just specifically looking under the arms and any
Right,
other lymph node groups, it all looks great.
Good.
So, counting on you
100 days.
remaining in a complete remission.
Okay. When's the next PET scan?
And then we will do another scan in 6 months.
Okay.
All right. I know that he was very worried and anxious about getting those results, and it was terrific to be able to share good news with him.
No more chemo. He's all done with all that stuff. So now it's sort of the waiting game where he's going to be monitored for the next 6 months. If he's still clear then the monitoring spreads out further, maybe every few months, and then once the 5-year mark hits, then he's announced as cured. But we've been in this kind of weird limbo state with all this stuff since the beginning because cancer is very slippery and it's hard to detect. And so you can never really be sure whether it's gone or not until maybe years down the road. And so if we were just gonna kind of wait around and hope I think we would all just kind of go crazy. So we just need to keep working, keep making games. Because of the fact that we were going through such heavy shit at the time, we intentionally made Crashlands even more sort of ridiculous and humorous and whimsical and vibrant and colorful than we did in any of our previous games. Crashlands is part of the chapter of all of our lives, which is Sam having cancer. Like, that's Sam having cancer and us working on Crashlands. Those are both part of the same, chapter of our lives. And I think we're all just kind of ready to just be done with it and move on, whether it succeeds or whether it fails. We just want to put our best foot forward with it, but we're not gonna stress too much no matter what happens.
There are certainly things tied to it that now have had their sort of chapter closed, and this needs to sort of be the capstone on that whole thing. And hopefully it goes very, very well and ends up being like, oh, you got cancer, but you got this sweet game out of the deal, and like everybody loves it, Hopefully that happens. But But even if it doesn't, honestly, I mean, we've all talked about this internally because there's always a high risk of failure. So we'll do everything we can, but even if the game, doesn't do much, we're all so proud of the thing, and it's such a beast of a project that we're like, so what? We'll just, we'll go crank out some other game. We can make a game in 8 hours, so we'll be fine no matter what. But all of us are excited to move on and see what happens, I think.
I'm really proud of those guys and what they're doing and what they've done. And it just needs to be birthed out into the world so everybody can, enjoy it. And they have great hopes for it, and I'm so excited to see what happens.
All right, so this week, this is the Monday of launch week. Everything is squared away. All of our probably now about 800 press contacts have been sent their keys. They're all playing it. We're just kind of responding to questions from people over Twitter and that kind of stuff.